There used to be a Highlander up there, in Kladish, in the province near Jabina, who had 2 sons, Muji and Halil. His father was a very poor man, he barely earned bread and salt. So as soon as the older son Muji grew tall, he started to work, went and was hired by a master to earn a living. This master was rich and made Muji a cowherd. Muji was entrusted with a herd and sent up to the mountain pastures with it. This is what Muji did now. He would get up early in the morning. As soon as the stars faded and the day began to break, he would take a loaf of bread and a few grains of salt in his pocket, take his stick in his hand, send up the herd to graze the mountain pastures. He ate bread and salt, drank cold fountain water and rested near the stream. Muji got to know every path, leading his herd in one direction and then in the other to find the best pastures, and in the evening he returned home to his master. His master was surprised because the cows were producing so much milk that he could not find enough containers in which to put it. But still, Muji received only bread and salt. Things went well, until suddenly one day Muji lost his cows in the mountains. He looked for them and he did not leave a trough or a path untrodden, until it got dark. But he could not find them. He did not return home that night. How could he go back without the cows? The master would be furious, and the other shepherds, his friends, would make fun of him. After he got tired of wandering path after path, valley after valley when the sun set behind the mountains, Muji sat down tired and sat next to a rock. He spent the night there. A dark night without stars and moon. Since he had nothing to do, he thought to take a nap, until the day would come so he could go out again to the mountains to look for the cows. But at the rock where he had rested, there were 2 cradles with 2 small babies. These babies screamed and cried loudly and Muji came closer to look at them. He saw that they were little infants and became compassionate. He gently rocked the cradles and put them to sleep. After midnight, 2 blinding white lights suddenly appeared on top of the rock. No, they weren't lights, but they were 2 fairies dressed in light. They saw Muji gently rocking the babies' cradles, and heard him talking to them softly, with a sweet voice. They were surprised and asked him, "Who are you? What are you looking for in this place? Have you lost something and went out to look for it?" "I am a cowherd, a wage earner for bread and salt," Muji told them. "Today a great misfortune happened to me. I lost my cows, so I went out to look for them. I spent the night here and I sat down to rest and sleep. I couldn't close my eyes because of these 2 babies. I had compassion and rocked the cradles. I barely put them to sleep. What about you? Why do you have all this white light covering your face and stature?" They recognized Muji because they had seen him many times from afar, grazing cows in the mountains and meadows. They said, "We are fairies, Muj. We went out like every night, up and down the world to help good and righteous people. We left the babies alone. Muj, you were a good person, you rocked their cradles and put them to sleep. May you live long. Tell us, Muj, what do you want us to give you for the good you did to us? Do you want strength, Muj? Do you want to fight a war? Do you want positions? Do you want knowledge? Do you want language? Ask for what you want, and we will give it." This is what Muji says to the fairies. "Well, my white fairies, the other shepherds make fun of and bother me. Do you have the power to make me strong enough to defeat them all? That's all you want, Muj? That's it." The fairy says to the fairy, "Sister, shall we give Muji breast milk to make him strong?" "Yes, sister." The fairies give Muji breast milk and he immediately feels himself so strong that he can uproot an oak tree. The fairies say to him, "Let us see you, Muj, how strong you are. Grab that rock next to you and lift it up." Muji leans down, grabs the rock, pulls it out of place, weighs it in his hands, lifts it up to his ankle. "I can't lift it higher," and drops it down. Again the fairy says to the fairy, "We must give some more milk to our Muji so that he becomes stronger." Muji's power is increased. He takes the rock, weighs it well in his hands, lifts it up to his waist. But he can't lift it higher. The fairies see and say to each other, "He needs more." Muji drinks fairy milk once more and becomes stronger than a dragon. He picks up the rock and puts it on the corner of his shoulder, holds it up and stays upright. It doesn't move him at all. He asks the fairies, "Where should I throw this rock, my white fairies?" They say to each other, "Let's not give Muji more strength, because if we do, the whole world will collapse." Then they ask Muji carefully about his mother and father, about his brother and sister, about Jitbina and the province. Meanwhile, the white moon sits high above their heads and watches them as they talk. The cool night breeze comes out and blows in the mountain. The leaves rustle. When the dawn of the day begins to shine in the sky, the fairies take the cradles, hang them with cloths on their backs and disappear, leaving behind a veil of light. Muji rubs his eyes and tries to see where the fairies went, but he only sees the trace of that cloth that dissolves in the mountains. And he says to himself, "Maybe I saw a dream? Go wash your eyes in the stream." The waters were cold and clear. Then he goes out looking for the cows. He finds them full, in good condition, takes them forward and heads home. When it comes in the field of Jitbina, the sun has covered the valley. There, in the field, all his friends have gathered. The shepherds are playing with each other. When they see Muji, they grabbed him and they teased him. "Come down, you weakling!" Muji frowned. He didn't answer. "Didn't the wolves eat you with the whole cow?" Again he frowned and still did not answer. "Will we wrestle together?" This time Muji laughed and answered, "Yes." Muji folded his arms. When the strongest shepherd approaches him and tries to grab him, throw him down, but Muji seized him by the arm, lifted him up, shook him back and forth several times and hurled him into the air. The shepherds look at him scared. How did Muji become like this? They backed off, turned their backs and run away as fast as they could. "Is there anyone else who wants to wrestle?" asks Muji. But there is no one to answer him, because everyone had disappeared. Muji takes the cows and takes them to the master. Take the cows and find other cowherd. Then he returns to Kladish province to see his mother and father, brother and sister. From that day, Muji starts working for himself, hunts in the high mountains with summer pastures. The wolves trembled whenever they heard him approach. Then he went on fighting for his country.